happens when an action star decides to shape a project from his own idea, determined to push himself further than anyone expects. Out of a simple spark came a concept that aimed to show two different sides of him, in a way audiences had never seen before. But ambition alone was not enough. The first reactions were harsh. Early development worked against it, and the people involved had to fight to keep the project alive. So how did a project that survived rejection and doubt become one of the most talked about films of Van Damme's career? Let's find out. This is the history of Double Impact.
Now, get ready for Double Impact.
The concept behind Double Impact began when Van Damme wanted to make an action film where he played twins, inspired by the 1941 adaptation of the Corsican Brothers. Early in the process, his history with Menahem Golan and Cannon Films came back into the picture. Golan had once dismissed Van Damme, but the success of Bloodsport changed his view. He reminded Van Damme that he still owed Cannon more films under his contract, and asked him and Sheldon Lettish to come in for a meeting. From there, he and Lettish began shaping their own version of the idea. The twins would be separated after their parents were murdered and a stolen fortune disappeared. One of the brothers would grow up in Los Angeles as a clean-cut martial arts instructor. The other would be raised in Hong Kong as a street-hardened smuggler. Their contrast formed the hook of the film, highlighted in the tagline, "One packs a punch, one packs a piece." But getting the project moving was not simple. Cannon executives doubted that Van Damme could play two different roles and refused to pay Lettish for his work on the script. Lettish threatened legal action, forcing Cannon to settle and grant him the rights to the Corsican Brothers adaptation. This became useful when Van Damme signed a contract with Stone Group Pictures. Behind the scenes, Stone Group had been developing Night of the Leopard for Van Damme. When the project fell apart, Van Damme pitched the twins' story and secured the agreement to make Double Impact. He then pushed for Lettish to direct, overcoming the studio's hesitation. Once the film was approved, both were clear about the tone they wanted. Lettish described it as a kick-ass, balls-to-the-wall revenge movie, and they approached it with that intention. Van Damme also took it as a chance to expand his image beyond pure martial arts roles. He believed that playing characters with opposing personalities would show a different side of him, and he personally asked for changes that reduced fight scenes and added more character moments.
Impact. There's two of them.
Think about it.
Van Damme ×2.
With the foundation of the story in place, the next step was putting together the supporting cast. For the main villain, the production brought back Bolo Yeung, known from Enter the Dragon and Bloodsport. Van Damme thought of him immediately for the role of Moon, the triad enforcer involved in the twins' past. Yeung spoke very little English and learned his lines phonetically, and Double Impact became their second collaboration. The supporting cast included Jeffrey Lewis as Frank Avery, a former bodyguard who rescues baby Chad and later brings the brothers together. The role for Danielle Wild went to Alona Shaw, a model turned actress. She was not Lettish's first choice because he felt Alex had lived in Hong Kong his entire life, his girlfriend should be of Asian descent, and he wanted to cast Tia Carrera. He was outvoted though, and Shaw ended up being cast in the role. Karina Everson played Kara, a henchwoman for the villains. She was a Miss Olympia champion who had moved into acting. Alan Scarf appeared as Nigel Griffith, the businessman behind the murder of the twins' parents, and Philip Chan played Raymond Zhang, the triad boss working with Griffith. One casting story that surfaced years later when Van Damme explained that his agent and lawyer had tried to bring Dolph Lundgren into the project by suggesting he play one of the twins, as they believed that Van Damme couldn't pull off playing two roles. The idea was shut down immediately, and a year later, the two actors worked together in Universal Soldier instead. The music for Double Impact was composed by Arthur Kemple. He had worked on action and thriller films in the late 80s, and his approach for this movie combined orchestral sounds with electronic elements typical of early 90s action films. In 1993, Silver Screen Records released the official Double Impact soundtrack on CD. It contained 12 tracks running about 40 minutes and focused entirely on Kemple's instrumental score. The soundtrack, though, did not include the nightclub track Some of That, performed by Genzo Rubin.
Brothers. reunited on a mission. Watch my back.
Double Impact reached cinemas in the United States in August 91. It opened at number 2 at the box office with about $7.5 million across its first weekend. It was a solid return for a Van Damme film at the time. By the end of its run, the film had made around $30 million in the United States, placing it amongst his stronger early performers. International markets responded well too, helped by Van Damme's global fan base and the Hong Kong setting. Critics, though, were far less enthusiastic. Many reviewers found the story thin or the execution uneven. Chris Hicks of Deseret News said the film could be more laughable than exciting, although he noted that it had more gunfire than most of Van Damme's earlier films. Roger Ebert gave the film 2 out of 4 stars. He compared it to a lower-tier James Bond production, pointing out flaws in the formula but acknowledging its slick production and a few sharp moments. He also commented that Van Damme and Seagal always play similar heroes that might limit them in the long term, adding that either version of Van Damme could play a strong villain. The Los Angeles Times gave it a supportive write-up, calling it a solid, fast-moving action-adventure that delivered 2 Van Dammes for the price of 1.
To avenge their parents' death, one packs a punch.
Filming Double Impact meant splitting the production between California and Hong Kong. Early in development, the filmmakers considered shooting in Corsica as a nod to Dumas' story, but that idea was dropped. Hong Kong became the main setting because filming there was cheaper and required fewer permits. Director Sheldon Lettish noted that many street scenes were shot guerrilla style, like the scene where Chad and Danielle are running through Hong Kong streets. Many of the onlookers in the background were real locals who had no idea a movie was being filmed. The urban scenery and shipping docks provided an evocative backdrop for the film's chases and shootouts. A lot of interior scenes were shot in Los Angeles because the US producers did not get on with the Hong Kong production partners. The interior of the hotel where the twins fight was shot in LA, and so was the interior shots of Alex's mahjong parlor. Creating the illusion of 2 Van Dammes was one of the production's chief challenges. In the era before CGI, the crew relied on lockdown cameras, body doubles, and old-school optical effects. As Lettish explained, they shot scenes twice from the same camera position and composed the 2 halves of the frame so Van Damme could appear as both Chad and Alex. Van Damme had to change costumes, hairstyles, and posture each time he switched characters, and the lighting and the camera alignment had to remain identical between the takes. The method was time-consuming, but the effect worked well for the technology of the early 90s. The production also experienced a well-known off-camera incident. During production, producers working on the film Stone Cold tried to siphon off part of Double Impact's budget to finance that project. When Van Damme learned this, he lost his temper. As he later recounted, he grabbed the nearest object to him, a papaya, and he threw it at the producer's head. The producer ducked just in time and fled the set. Away from the drama, the supporting cast added their own behind-the-scenes stories. Corey Everson joined the film with no fighting experience and trained with Billy Blanks to get ready for her scenes. In order to shoot the scenes where Van Damme is fighting himself, Lettish explained that they used 2 body doubles, a French guy that specialized in kicking to stand in for Chad, and an ex-US Navy SEAL to stand in for Alex. Lettish also explained that Bolo Young's electrocution in the finale came from his love of the odd-job death scene in Goldfinger. Peter Mallotta, who played one of the film's henchmen, wore spurs at Van Damme's suggestion and also worked behind the camera as a fight choreographer. Years after the film's release, Oliver Stone told Van Damme that his favorite moment in Double Impact was the fantasy love scene between Chad and Danielle.
One packs a piece.
After its theatrical run, Double Impact moved quickly into the home video market. Columbia TriStar Home Video released it on VHS in 1992, and it became a steady presence on rental shelves through that decade. A second VHS edition appeared a few years later. The first DVD release arrived in 2001 through MGM Home Entertainment. It offered the film in widescreen, but included very few extras. A Blu-ray edition arrived in 2012, again from MGM, giving the film a sharper presentation, but again, very little bonus material. That changed in 2019 when MVD Visual released a collector's edition Blu-ray through its Rewind collection. This version added a retrospective documentary with new interviews, along with deleted scenes, behind-the-scenes footage, and other material. In August 2023, UK distributor 88 Films released a 4K Blu-ray showing that Double Impact still finds support decades after its release. For fans who want to add Double Impact to their collection, the Blu-rays are the best way to go. I've added a link in the description below, and also there should be a card popping up on screen to make it easy for you to check it out.
Together, they deliver Double Impact.
In the end, Double Impact stayed alive because the idea at its core was strong enough to land on its own. It did not need a sequel or a bigger universe to survive, because the film gave people something they remembered long after the credits rolled. This is why the story still has a place in action history today. And we're not done yet. Next time, we look at Rapid Fire and the path that shaped another early 90s favorite. Until then, you can check out our previous deep dive on Drive.
You look like Miss Daisy. I should be driving, you know fucking well.
Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.